Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to go over Unit 6, Module 3, Session 5, Another Camping Trip. The Ng family is going on a camping trip next week. There are 4 people in the family, Mr. and Mrs. Ng and their children, Jason and Kristen. Help them do some planning for their trip. Fill in the bubble beside the correct answer to each question below. Number 1, the shoelaces on Jason's tennis shoes are almost worn out. He has to measure them so he gets the right length at the store. Which of these units should he use? Okay, so we're looking at shoelaces on a tennis shoes. So would it be kilometers? No, definitely not. Meters? No. Centimeters? That sounds a little bit better. Millimeters? No, that's too small. So centimeters is the correct answer. Number 2, Mrs. Ng says it'll be a 3-minute walk from their tent to the lake. Kristen wants to measure the distance. Which of these units should she use? So it says they're going for a 3-minute walk. Am I going to want to use kilometers for a 3-minute walk? No, that sounds like that's too big of a unit. Millimeters, definitely too small. Centimeters, also too small. That leaves me with meters, and that is the correct answer. Number 3, Kristen wants to find the area of the floor of her family's tent to make sure everything will fit. Which of these units should she use? So we're looking at the area of the floor of a tent where people sleep. Am I going to want to do square kilometers? No, that's way too big of a unit. Square centimeters sounds too small. Square meters sounds more accurate. Number 4, Jason says that when they arrive, he's going to measure the area of the parking space to make sure their truck and bikes will fit. Which of these units should he use? Again, square kilometers sounds way too big of a unit to be using for this. Square centimeters sounds too small, so square meters is where it's at. Number 5, which formula should Kristen use to find the area of our campsite? Formula for area is length times width. So am I going to use 2L times 2W? No. Length times width times height? No, that's a 3D shape. I'm only finding a 2D shape. Base times height? No. Again, it's length times width. And number 6, Mr. Ng wants to find the volume of the family car trunk so he'll know how much luggage will fit back there. Which of these units should he use? So when I'm finding volume, I know I'm going to take length times width times height, and it's going to be a cubic measurements because it's a 3D shape. So I'm going to want to use meters, cubic meters, for the volume of a trunk. That sounds like it could work. Cubic centimeters, that sounds too small. And cubic meters, millimeters, way too small. So my best option is cubic meters. Number 7, Jason wants to measure the volume of a shoebox to find out how many comic books he can fit into it for the trip. Which of these units should he use for a shoebox? Again, millimeters sounds way too small. Cubic meters sounds too big. So cubic centimeters sounds better. And number 8, which formula should Jason use to find the volume of the shoebox? What's the formula for volume? Length times width? No, that's area. 2L times 2W or plus 2W? No. Volume equals length times width times height? Yes, that is definitely the formula for volume. Length plus width times height? No, not the correct formula for volume. On the next page, we see solve the 2-story problems below. Show your thinking using words, numbers, or labeled sketches. The regular-sized box of cereal measures 6 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 20 centimeters. What is the volume for the cereal box? I know the formula for volume is volume equals length times width times height. So I'm going to plug those measurements in. Volume equals 6 times 30 times 20. And I know that 30 times 20 would be 600. 600 times 6, that's what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking 6 times 600, and that equals 3,600. And I have to think, what are my units here? My units are centimeters cubed. So again, centimeters cube or cubic centimeters. For the second part of this problem, the large cereal box is twice as wide as the regular. Do we have enough information to find the volume? So it's twice as wide as the regular. But does that mean the length and the height are the same? No, I don't know. It doesn't tell me. If not, what else do you need? If so, what is the volume of the large cereal box? So I basically just kind of answered it. No, we don't have enough information. We can decide what is the width, that the width is 40 because I know that it's twice as wide. But we don't know the depth and the height of the large box. And so that's what I need to know. I need to know the depth and the height. Or we can say the length and the height. Moving on now to number 10, the challenge one. Graph and label the points that represent cubes with side lengths of 1, 2, 3, and 4 centimeters and their volumes. The first one is done for you. What does the point 1, 1 represent? So the point 1, 1 represents a cubic centimeter. Each dimension is 1 centimeter, and the volume is 1 centimeter cubed. That's why I have 1 as the side length. Each side is 1, and the volume is 1. So I'm graphing and labeling the points that represent cubes with side lengths of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know that the 2 is going to be here on the 2 axis, side length of 2. What would be the volume of a cube with side lengths of 2? So 2 times 2 is what I'm trying to solve. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So I'm going to plot that before the 10, and I'm going to label it 2, 8. Now I do the same for 3. I'm thinking of a cube which side lengths measure 3 by 3 by 3. So I know 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So I'm going to move my graph here, and I'm going to label 3, 27. I'm going to plot 3, 27, which is before 30. I'll label it right there. And then we move on to a cube with sides of 4. So I want to think 4 times 4 times 4, since that is the formula for volume. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. So I need to plot a point that is 464. So I'm going to go right up there, not quite at 65 yet, and that's 464. And that's all for today.